Good afternoon. I did a video last week about notary publics, notaries, but I wasn't too happy with how it turned out, so I decided to do something fresh. And I have received some really interesting complaints about notary publics. I myself became a notary public, maybe I would say about 2 months ago. Prior to that, I had been receiving a number of complaints, especially since I've been doing these videos, and I really didn't. I kept saying I was going to talk about it. I do that all the time. I keep saying to myself, "I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this," and I just didn't. And I kept getting complaints, and so I read the act, but I really didn't penetrate on it. There was so much going on with one of your favorite topics, immigration, and so recently, someone brought it to my attention again of how much they pay for notary services. And so I said, you know what? It is time for me to talk about notary publics. Now, I will say this as a disclaimer: the Notary Publics Act 2023 is under review. Sorry, I can't invite no co-hosts. I don't think any of you that are trying to invite to be co-hosts uh, even knows about the topics that I am talking about. So just stop it. Uh, but yeah, so I decided to talk about notary publics and particularly about the fees for notary publics because I have received complaints of notaries charging up to $100 for some documents. Now, I'm going to read the law as it states, and I know what I want the government to consider for changes in the law. If you're a Caymanian and you can vote, or even if you're not Caymanian, I think you probably can still, as a member of the public, write to the Law Review Commission, I believe it's called, yes, as a member of the public. If you think, now I don't want any of you trying to decide you're going to write frivolously and nilly-willy to the government, and I'm talking about the government and the government administration building the law. I think it's the Law Review Commission. They're the ones that are in charge of reviewing existing legislation, existing acts, existing laws, and trying to help make changes, right? So any member of the public, that's how I know about these things, because any member of the public, and especially if you're a voting Caymanian, right, can write and make suggestions if you can understand the laws that you're talking about, or you think you've heard something and you think, oh, that should change. Now, the government can't change everything because the government don't make laws on everything, especially when it doesn't have to do with the country and it has to do with private sector business with certain things and whatnot. So you have to be clear if you're going to write what you're going to write about, and you have to make sense on what you're writing about and what you've written to them to consider, right? And so I wanted to talk about the fees for notary public. I am hoping that when the new law is, this existing law is only 24 pages long, and I think it should be much longer. I am hoping that when the government does review it, there will be at least maybe another 7 to 10 pages of additional stuff. There's nothing in here that gives consideration to the length of time that an application takes to consider, all that stuff. But anyway, I won't get into that. I'll hold you guys up too long. On a serious note, though, if you have a complaint about a notary public, right there, the list of notary publics is listed on the judicial website. That's the courthouse website at www.judicial.ky, or you can just Google it, and it's very easy. There's a search bar right there, and you just put in notary publics, and it takes you straight to the link where the notary publics are. You can read the names, see if there's anyone in there that you know, or I'm not even sure if they have the addresses. I believe they have the addresses and phone numbers. I'm not sure about that. I haven't checked the list lately. I haven't even checked to see if they put me on the list. But you'll see who's a Notary Public, and you'll see the names to see if there's anyone that you know. But most immigration and most businesses, and especially banks, and MPs are all notary. No, the MPs aren't notary publics; they're justices of the peace. But a lot of times they have notary publics in their offices too, and so it's very easy to find a notary public, I believe, right? But you can complain to the clerk of courts at the judicial offices, the court's office in Georgetown. You can call, or you can. I don't remember if they have a complaints number or a complaints email. You know, some of you like to go onto social media and complain, but you don't like to do the right complaining, and that's to contact the right place to complain. I know it's probably more expensive because many of you don't have data, and you don't have an ability to call. But again, I want to say I'm hoping that the government will one day implement WhatsApp methods of communication for the public. And I know I believe I heard some time ago that they were working on implementing 800 numbers. So that would be very easy too. But getting back to the fees, so you will know what the fees are. Okay. In section 10, in section 10 of the Notaries Public Act 2023 revision, it says, I like to read word for word, so you can't say she said, unless I try to interpret it in my own words for you to understand a little bit better. In section 10.1, under fees, a notary public shall not charge for the performance of any notarial act a sum in excess of the fees listed in Schedule 5. And where a notary public provides a service or carries out an act for which fees are not provided, the notary public's fee shall be as provided for under any rule of court or any other written law. Section 10.2, where the provision of subsection 1 are contravened, the notary public's conduct shall be considered a misconduct in that person's capacity as a notary public. So that's basically saying if they didn't do what they're supposed to do according to the law, then they've broken the law and they didn't act with the most professional conduct in performing their service. So most notary publics that I am concerned about is the signing of basic documents that we use every day in life, because just about everywhere today wants notarized documents to prove that you are who you are. I don't understand why people want to co-host with me, and it's not a topic you want to do. You can make a comment and I'll try to read them after. But like I said, passports, proof of original documents, that their copies are legitimate, passports, pictures, those sorts of things. If you're doing real estate closings, if you're buying a car, there's so many different things that notaries have to swear documents to. And so I have heard that some notaries are charging, especially immigration agencies. Guys, I don't mean to pick on you, but I'm just going to say it because that's where the majority of the companies come through, that some notaries are charging up to $100 per document. And I don't know for sure because most of you, unfortunately, are non-Caymanians. The Caymanians just want to get it over and done with, and they don't really care. We don't have too much to do, but most of you are non-Caymanians, and you're so desperate to get things done how you're supposed to get it done, and you know it's wrong. The fees seem high, but you just don't know what to do, and you still just go along with it, And so you need to know what these fees are, and if you don't know what the fees are, ask before you go for the service. There's hundreds of notary publics in Cayman, hundreds of them, and someone has to charge you the right fee. Don't just go to one person and get that fee. You understand? You worked hard for your money. Whether you're Caymanian or non-Caymanian, you work hard for your money. We all know the cost of living is already very high in the Cayman Islands. And it has to be to a certain extent to maintain the standard of life, the quality of life here in the Cayman Islands, because the government can't always borrow. The money has to come from somewhere, and they can't always depend on Mr. Dart. So the money has to come from somewhere in order to maintain the Cayman Islands as it does. And that is part and parcel of the cost of living in the Cayman Islands. Everything has to be, anyway, I'm not going to get into that straight. So do not fall for just one notary when the fees seem excessively high. Ask them before. Say, this is a document that I have. I need one signature or I need two signatures. How much are you going to cost? And if it seems excessively high, don't pay for it. Go somewhere else. Go back to that list on the judicial website and see where you can find another notary. I have this little tablet here and it has a mind of its own. It's always zipping in and out. I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay, so I'm going to go to Schedule 5, which is the fees. That is going to just concern you people, my audience. I don't say that in a disrespectful way, okay? I've always been a person that liked to smile a lot. I want to tell you what my pet name was for me by my mother when I was younger, because I used to smile so much. I didn't really talk a lot when I was younger, but I smiled a lot. I grinned a lot. I was always showing my teeth. God rest Mr. Louis Moncrief. Many of you won't know who he is, but he always talked about that. So don't be concerned that you see me smiling a lot. See what I'm telling you about this tablet? Okay, back to the schedule. Everything is gone. Oh, here we go. Schedule 5. Okay. So I'm just going to read it. Some of these doesn't pertain to you, but I'm just going to read it just for information purposes. So, notarial acts and fee schedule. It says bills of exchange, noting protest for non-acceptance and recording the same $15, noting protest for non-payment and recording the same $15, ships protests, noting protest and recording the same $15, drawing, engrossing, and recording an extended marine protest together with confirmation of the same $65, survey of ships, warrant of survey under seal and recording the same $25, return of survey under seal and recording the same $25, certificate of character attached to the report of survey under seal $25, bottomry, I really should have looked up and see what that meant, and respondentia bonds, but I don't think it's anything to do on a regular average day-to-day basis that's going to be needed. Usually with these types of things that I'm reading out now, lawyers are present when these activities are being handled. Okay, bottomry and respondentia bonds, drawing and engrossing of bottomry and respondentia bonds in triplicate and recording the same $65, acknowledgement of master to bond $15, confirmation of bond together with certificate attached thereto under seal $35, acknowledgement of assignment of bond and certificate under seal attached in triplicate $35. Now this is where many of you need to pay attention under the miscellaneous section. Administering an oath, that means if a notary has you swear an oath and attest to that oath, that you have sworn that oath. Oh my goodness. Administering an oath, $15. Hear what I said? If a notary has to take an oath from you, $15. Verification under seal of auctioneer's or agent's signature to accounts, $25. Declaration before a notary public with a certificate under seal, $25. Certificate under seal attached to a power of attorney, $25. Identification of an interpreter, $15. So if a notary has to identify an interpreter and attest that that is a legitimate interpreter, $15 is that charge. Any notarial copy of a document, 1/2 of the fee charge for the original. So if a notary has to notarize a copy of a document, like your birth certificate, your utility bill, your bank statements, 1/2 of the fee charge for the original. And that would usually be half of either, I think, it's not too clear here to me. And I've asked a number of notaries. I haven't been able to get anyone at the court's office or government administration building to confirm, but how the law states here to me, it wouldn't be any more than half of $15 or half of $25. So if a notary needs to notarize a copy of a document for you, they should not be charging you any more than half of 15 or half of 25. To me, it's still not clear exactly how much it is, but you know for sure no more than half of one of those amounts. Not 25, not 50, half of what they're charging. Which would be declaration for, okay, let me see. We go down further and it says certificate under seal attached to any notarial copy of a document, $25. Recording any document for which no fee is fixed therein, portfolio of 72 words, $15. So if they're recording a document and there's no fee mentioned above, and it's up to 72 words, it's $15. Any certificate of record, $25. Witnessing of any document not hereinfore mentioned, $15. So if you don't hear a document mentioned there without a fee or with a fee, and you have a document that you need witnessed by a notary, that document is supposed to be $15. Not 25, not 50, not 100 or 150, as I have heard notaries are charging. They are thieving you. They are stealing from you. If you're not sure, find the court's office or call Government Administration Building and ask for, I shouldn't say this, but ask for the Attorney General's office or ask for someone in the clerk's office at the courthouse, because you want to verify notary public fees that you have been charged. Lastly, always make sure you receive a receipt for your services. Always make sure you receive a receipt for your notary public services, because that is the only way. I shouldn't say that is the only way, because you have the notary public signature, but you won't be able to prove how much they've charged you if you don't get a receipt. Do not make anybody make you feel desperate, Caymanian or non-Caymanian, desperate to have a notary public sign your document because you're in a time crunch or you're rushing. Do it the right way, because let me tell you, after you've done it, you can't go back. You can't go back to the notary. You can complain, but you can't go back to the notary, because many of them are going to not want to give you your money because they think that you don't know. So educate yourselves. If you can't read and write properly, you inbox me, or you call the courthouse, or you call the Government Administration Building. I still call it Glass House, but it's GAB, and get some information. You have every right, as Caymanians do here, with certain things. Not everything, but certain things. Okay, so let me see if there's any comments here. Do not be swindled by notary publics. Let me see. I just want to say this. In the States, I'm hoping that the government will implement this. I believe that they will. Every notary publics have to take a course, an online course, right? I know Florida does, North Carolina does, because I was a notary public in those two states when I was going to school. And you have to take an online course. And you have to have a certain amount of questions answered through that course in order to be qualified to receive notary public. And you have to have certain occupations. It just can't be anyone that have applied to be a notary public. So I am hoping that the government will implement that too. The same how we have to get a driver's license to drive, we should be getting, notaries should be having to take a test to get their notary public's license, because many people are having these distinctions and they really don't have any reason to have them, and they're taking advantage of people. And in the States, they have a tier also of the fees. The two states, there's 3 states that I'm aware of that I know for sure. And they have a tier, just like how the schedule is, they have a tier of fees. And anyone found going over those tiers are in big trouble. So let me see if any of you guys have any questions here. No immigration questions. All right. Say hi to all of you guys. Thank you for joining. Remember to share, like, and follow, because I see many of you that just come onto the page to snoop and you don't follow, but you're getting something from the page. So let me get something from the page to encourage me to keep posting. Boy, many of you want to be guests and you don't have a clue about this topic. Thank you, Harry, J.I. I can't read everybody's name, but hi to everyone. Thank you for joining. Who is this here? Oh my gosh. I gotta love my I don't like the word expatriate, my immigrant supporters and followers, as well as my Caymanians. I did not realize so many Caymanians followed my page. Now remember, I have a YouTube page, a TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I do not get paid for this. It is just something I do out of the goodness of my heart for people. Hold on, I saw a question there. No. Yeah. The whole system is a job. I was expecting better from them as a non-Caymanian. I agree with you. What's your username here? Sheiks. I agree with you. We expect better of them as non-Caymanians and Caymanians, because this is not a title to joke with. I can tell you that. It's a public service that we have decided to request to serve the public. And the reason why a fee is charged, I believe, is to help us to recoup the cost of paying for stamps and those sorts of things. But nevertheless, this is a public service, so they should not be abusing it and taking advantage of people. That is pretty much it. Hold on. Yes, Sheiks, I figured what you were saying. And when you're correcting your spelling error or your grammar error, the asterisk comes before the word, not after the word. The asterisk comes after the word for another reason. I don't want to get into grammar teaching here this afternoon, but guys, thank you so much again for listening. I've gone over a little time that I wanted to do because I have another video I want to do. I will talk to you soon. Have a good afternoon.